County Board of County Commissioners meeting and Port Authority meeting today is July 8th, 2025, and it is 9:02, and we will convene this meeting. Call to order with invocation led by Commissioner Larry Harvey. I don't believe Dennis Childers is here from God's Kitchen. And followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Alexander. Please silence your phones. Please stand if you're able to do so.
Let us bow our heads. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for today, a day we've never experienced before in our life. Let us make a difference in someone's life today. Let us invest in their life as people have invested in ours. And Father, the investment comes directly from you today. Come into our minds today, Father. Take control of our meeting today. Give us wisdom directly from your throne room, and let us seek forgiveness and passion to serve our county. Father, we thank you for all the staff that's here today. We thank you for the visitors that are here, our constituents. And Lord, we ask that everything be done decently and in order. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Good morning. Please join me in the pledge to the flag of our great United States. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Approval of the minutes.
Madam Chair, I move we approve the minutes as stated in our packet for the meeting June 10th, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. We will recess the BOCC and convene the Port Authority meeting. We have approval of the minutes.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the Port Authority regular minutes June 10th, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we have extension of a lease. Good morning, Mr. Sam Sullivan.
Good morning, Commissioners. Before you is an extension to a lease on the southern end of our port annex back in January. The board approved a short-term lease to Copper Roads. Copper Roads is just asking for 2 of their 3-month extensions to make it up to a 1-year total. We don't know if there's any additional that will be needed, but they cannot be on the premises more than a total of 2 years, because eventually that will be dredge material area with our dredging project over at the port. They're just asking for 2 additional 3 months, 6 months at this time.
Okay.
And we're bringing before you for your consideration.
All right, moving back to the board. It's in your agenda packet. Is there any discussion or questions? Commissioner Pelletier, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, this, I guess, would be more of a question for Mr. Commando. On page 16, item 2, it says term of the lease shall commence on February 1st, 2025, and shall, unless it is extended, terminate on July 30th. Upon a mutual agreement of the parties, this lease may be extended to the extending terms and conditions not more than 6 additional 3-month terms. Terms upon mutual agreement, the parties and at least 90 days prior to the end of the current term thereof. Aren't we within that, Mr. Commando, right now?
Are we within the 90 days? No, you're not.
I'm sorry?
You're not within the 90 days of the expiration. That would be July 30th, 2025, which is a couple of weeks.
As I understood it, maybe I'm misunderstanding. It says that should be negotiated 90 days prior is the way I interpreted it. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think that's correct. It should be negotiated 90 days prior. If nothing's negotiated, the options are the lease can terminate July 30th. There should have been discussion probably a little bit earlier than now, but you have the options to extend for not more than 6 additional 3-month terms.
Okay. That's one question I had. And the next one, as I read down further and got down to the security deposit, and it said that the lessee sole cost and expense shall cause to be completed. These items are particularly described within Exhibit B, and talks about removing maintenance items. Parties agreed to a condition of sufficient consideration for the waiver of elimination of security deposit. This $10,800 value, I'm assuming, is to do some maintenance to the property, is that right?
So when you look at Exhibit B, there's approximately 400 cubic yards of broken concrete that was supposed to be disposed of.
Okay, I was out there yesterday and I've not seen but maybe, I don't know, a dump truck loaded clay been removed, no concrete whatsoever, that I could tell.
Mr. Sullivan, can you respond?
Yes, the pile we're talking about is a pile that was out on the grassy area. It is no longer there. It has been removed.
I was under the impression that what I still calling the people that, Georgia Pacific, when they had it, the donut, where they had the round pile of wood, I thought that was gonna be demolished and taken down.
That was my understanding as well.
Okay, no, that was not in the discussion, but if you wish for that to be removed in the short term, we can have a conversation with the tenant. Now, the concrete we were talking about, there was a pile of broken concrete, a considerable pile, that was out by where the railroad is, that was to be removed, and Mr. Lloyd was gonna remove it, crush it, and utilize it, and that was a pile that we needed out of the way for future development.
And that's been taken care of?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the way I understood it was the concrete donut mound out there when we originally discussed that.
I'm sorry if I gave that impression. No, it was not the donut, sir.
Okay, well,
Okay, Commissioner Pelcher, are you done? Or do you have
For
further
now.
questions? All right. Commissioner Alexander?
yeah, no, that was my impression that when this was originally presented, that in lieu of the $10,000 security deposit, that the donut mound was going to be crushed and removed. Because, I mean, that's really the major impingement out there, impediment to the load is that elevated mound. I mean, if it was just a couple of piles of concrete debris in the back for $10,000, I don't think that's equitable for a $10,000 security deposit, but that wasn't the way I was presented it or I understood it. I don't know if any of my other commissioners understood it the same way, but it sounds at least one of them did.
Okay.
I apologize if I gave that impression, sir. That was not my intent.
Okay, well,
Commissioner, go ahead.
with that being said, this being brought before us without any discussion within or outside of the 90 days that we were supposed to review it in, I have questions about that too, because this should have been brought to us to talk about before the lease was thrown in front of us.
Well, I'll just say, I guess it was an oversight on my part, sir.
But we are within that, I guess I'm a little confused. We are within that July 30th
It says
deadline.
prior to.
Well, we are
Prior to the 90 day. It ends on August the 13th. It was enacted on February the 13th. So 90 days would have been July, June. So we're within the time period. We should have been outside of 90 days when this was discussed. Because otherwise, every 6 months, I mean, basically the ink wouldn't be dry on the contract and you'd be discussing extension on the contract because they're renewable 6-month terms.
Rich, do you agree with what he's, I'm not a little,
Actually, that's the way the lease is written, is that if, we'll just skip some of the legalese, that upon mutual agreement of the parties and at least 90 days notice and prior to the end of the current term. So because the word "and" is with that, if there was an intent to continue or extend the lease, that conversation should have happened halfway through, 90 days earlier.
So-
okay.
Generally speaking, the tenant's the one that comes to us to ask to extend the lease.
And I haven't heard from him either.
And that's what happened?
No, I reached out to the tenant.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Alexander, are you done for now?
Well, I just wanted to point out that we didn't follow the contract properly.
Okay. Commissioner Harvey?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. You know, on page 15, it did say what the pile of concrete looked like. And we knew this going in, that they were going to do some improvements so we could use that property. I believe we also did that with the other group. I don't think we made them pay a big security deposit. They fixed the roof on that building, if I'm not mistaken.
Which group, sir? Are you talking about
The-
Victoria Marine, or are you talking about NIS?
NIS, I believe.
NIS, yes, they did
Yeah.
not make a security
just-
deposit. They did some considerable
Yeah, they did a lot.
improvements on there. Really did a good job.
Which we needed done.
Yes, sir.
So, but this is all economic developments, helping companies do that, and we're fixing to have a conversation soon about some of the benefits that we've seen so far. So I'm all for extending them. We got it built in that we're going to extend the lease, so I'm good with it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And there was a fence installed as well, is that correct?
That is correct. Mr. Lloyd installed a fence most recently.
Okay, all right. So, and I think he had a little bit of a late start, if I remember correctly, because of an issue regarding the driveway?
That is correct.
Yeah, okay. All right, what's the pleasure?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Alexander has the floor. Give me just a second.
So you said you reached out to him to renew the lease?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, so in the document here, it says Mr. Lloyd has reached out to the county and requested we extend the lease by 2 additional 3-month terms.
Well, I reached out to him and asked him, do you want to renew it? And he said yes, and he sent the letter out to me as requested. I requested a letter for him so that we could have a formal official notice from him that he wants to extend the lease.
Okay,
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we authorize your signature on the documents for the extension of the lease as presented to us today.
all right, we have a motion on the floor,
I'm going to second that.
and there's a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, like sign?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries 3-2.
Thank you.
All right, is there any public comment on Port Authority items? Port Authority items, public comment. All right, any general discussion on Port Authority items? All right, hearing none, we'll close the Port Authority meeting and move into, reconvene the BOCC meeting and move into presentations. First, we have Commissioner Alexander recognizing a hometown hero.
I'd like to ask Kason Bradford to come forward. Folks, yes, yep, that's a great place, Kason. So, those of you who do not know, what you have in front of you is a local hometown hero. And I've got that light skin like you do and that red hair, so I know you're going to get red and embarrassed because I would be the same way when people, but Kason was at his house and heard the screams and cries of a neighbor's child a couple of doors over. And instead of calling 911 or, waiting on an adult to take action, Kason did what we wish all of our children would do. Well, young men would do. He took action. He took the initiative to go over and see what the problem was, and he saved a child's life. This is something we all wish our children could do and had the foresight to do. I know at 17, 18 years old, maybe I would have taken that initiative. Maybe I wouldn't, but I would like to say thank you from deep in my heart, as well as the rest of the commissioners here, to say that we're proud of you, and any of us would be proud to have you as our son. And I just want to say thank you. And we have an award to present to you today in recognition of your heroic act. Thank you very much, Kason. Please come forward. Ms. Leota has your plaque.
So this award goes to, it's a Hometown Hero Award presented to Kason Bradford in recognition of your heroic efforts on June 2nd, 2025, in which you jumped into action to help a child who was found unresponsive after falling into the family pool. Your actions were instrumental in preventing a tragedy. Presented this day, July 8th, 2025, by your Putnam County Board of County Commissioners. Congratulations, sir. Thank you.
Bring your family. Our job is to make people cry. We do that. We do that.
Come on, Matthew. Slide over in here.
All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. And again, one more. All right.
Congratulations.
Have I got the mic again?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, so we had heroism for today's first presentation. Our second presentation is entrepreneurship. I would like to introduce Oche Bridford from the Palatka Housing Authority. He's our new director, and he has some children, young adults that he would like to introduce and present to you what they did with their summer vacation. Instead of going out and doing some of the things that we may have done, these guys are headed in the right direction. I'm very proud of you guys, and I would like to turn it over to Oche so he can present.
Thank you to the commissioners for having us. We're very thankful for this opportunity to talk about some of the great things that our youth are involved in. And rather than say a whole lot, I like to just go ahead and play a video, if everyone's ready.
Yep.
The Global Entrepreneurship Congress is an event like no other. Over 200 countries are represented. This is the second time it's been in the United States, and it just so happened to be in my hometown. So all of that made it a slam dunk opportunity to bring our youth on a life-changing trip.
I'm a little nervous, like talking, but I gotta like stay my comfort zone, so I'm gonna that like make it more interesting. So
They get to see a world that they're not accustomed to, a world that they don't know, they're not familiar with at all. I love the fact that they get to network, they get to come out of their shell.
Braylon Johnson, 14. Oh, and I play basketball. My name is Trey Boyd, and I'm 16 years old. I live in Palatka, Florida. And one interesting fact about me is I haven't been out of state before.
My name is Varia Schroeder. I'm 15, and an interesting fact about me is I like to do hair.
We've had opportunities to do deals with local influential business people who are successful in their own right, but have taken the time to invest in making sure that they're exposing the young people to ideas that they may not experience on a day-to-day basis.
My name is Tyson McKenna. I'm 17 from Florida. I just graduated high school. With honors. I'm going to Bethune-Cookman to study psychology. I want to be a neuropsychologist. But interesting fact about me is I like to read a lot.
My name is Tiana Lewis. I'm 17 from Palatka, Florida. And one interesting fact is I used to play basketball in middle school.
I had the opportunity to reach out to business leaders and entrepreneurs. They were ecstatic about the opportunity just to sit with our youth and share some of their experience. And what we don't realize oftentimes is that if you ask someone, they're more than willing and more than ready to help you to achieve your mission if your mission is a worthy cause.
actually doing it and building up from the tape. Real dedication and effort.
I think some of the students are having a good time. I'm hearing a lot of laughter, a lot of conversation, so everyone is enjoying themselves. I would say that they may too want to pursue some of the things that others are pursuing.
And we really hope that the minds of our youth and their hearts really never go back to where they were because they've grown so much from this experience.
Because learning is a skill that you never live without. You have to do it.
So it was my honor and my great pleasure to take this amazing group of young people on a once-in-a-lifetime trip to the Global Entrepreneurship Conference. And it's my pleasure and my honor to present them to you. So thank you for allowing us to share this time and just to share what we're doing in Palatka Housing Authority and investing in our residents first, starting with our youth.
Thank you. Before you step away, we've got some comments to make. Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want you to look at me. I came through Putnam County Schools, the Catholic school. You don't know where that's at, but it was right over here. Mosley Elementary, middle school, Palatka Central High, and Palatka High School in 1979. So we were the second graduating class out of what we called the new high school. It's really old now. I worked here at Pantry Pride Grocery Store in the same plaza that we're in here today at 15 years old, thinking, Lord, is this what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? I went off and had a great insurance career out in Interlaken. For over 25 years, owned my own business with 13 employees, which is a lot for a small business. And then came back as a county commissioner, okay? I've been able to stand in the Oval Office of the President of the United States from a poor kid from Francis, Florida, that no one thought I would ever make anything of myself. We're all products of Putnam County School up here. And I can tell you, don't limit yourself. The sky's the limit for you. Whatever you dream, you can do. And I'm a perfect example of doing that. And I've been blessed by God Almighty for doing that. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Alexander.
Thank you, Commissioner Harvey. He truly is an example of what you can become from humble roots. I want to thank you guys for coming in, but I would like to take a second for Oche to introduce himself. I should have done a better job and allowed him a second to speak, but Oche is the new director of the Palatka Housing Authority. Can you give him a brief overview of who you are, where you come from, and what your expectations are for Putnam's Palatka Housing Authority?
Thank you. I really appreciate it. So once again, my name is Oche Bridgeford. I am a product of public housing. So I also came from a place where when I was 10 years old, I was interviewed for a summer program, and they asked me, where do you see yourself at 25? And what my answer was is dead. I saw myself as not living to be 25, not because I wasn't involved in gang activity, I wasn't involved in selling drugs or anything illegal or anything immoral. It was just the environment that I lived in. But I was given a lot of opportunities and investment in me as a young person, as a young leader. And here I am as the executive director of the Palatka Housing Authority. And so with the Palatka Housing Authority, we're starting with the people first. Before we get to bricks and sticks, we're investing in the lives, in the minds, in the hearts of our residents, and then expanding that into building new buildings and redeveloping old buildings. So we look forward to the partnership from the commission as well as other partners in the community to help us do this work. But we wanted to make it very clear that we're starting with the people. So we're very happy to have this opportunity to speak with you, and we're very thankful.
Thank you, and thank you for your leadership and the opportunity you've given these youth. It seems like it's something they won't ever forget, I'm sure, and it's been make a lasting impression on their lives forever. And certainly, your circumstances never define you. And I think that you just shared your story with us a little bit, and I appreciate your leadership at the Palatka Housing Authority. So thank you for bringing your youth forward and investing in the people in the community. Thank you. We would love to get a picture with you guys. We would love to get a picture with you guys.
All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. And again. And one more. All right, you're good.
Thank you. We so appreciate people in our community that are working tirelessly to make our community better, and this is a prime example of that. And certainly with our previous recognition of Mr. Bradford, and we just are so thankful for that. Next up, we have Kimberly Morgan from the Chamber of Commerce for the Tourism Quarterly Update.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Ms. Morgan.
Get where we need to go. So,
Here we are.
here we are. So, I'm gonna present to y'all a little bit of an overview, kind of like it's a 2-quarter update, because we didn't give a formal update last quarter because I was so new. So thank you for letting us tell the good news, because that's what we've got from the tourism department. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that we're working on. The group sales effort is something that it's exciting because we've got events coming to Putnam County that you may or may not know about yet. The Southeast Wood Producers Association is having their annual meeting at the Putnam County Fairgrounds in September. So we're helping them get all the things that they need to have a great event, whether that's food trucks, whether that's, inflatables, whatever it is to, caterers, local vendors, all of those things to make sure that their event is everything that they want it to be. The same is happening with the Nissan Z car. They are having a Florida regional meeting, and they expect to bring 200 Z car owners to Putnam County in February of 2026. And then we're having conversations with a crappie tournament that is wanting to start a new event, and they want to bring it here. So we're having initial conversations with them to try to bring a new event, a new fishing event here. Event success, there's been a lot of that over the last 6 months. Bass Elite and the 76th annual Azalea Festival was held in February, and the Mug Race in May, the Wolfson Children's Hospital Bass Fishing Tournament in May as well, and then the Babe Ruth District 3 All-Stars Softball Tournament was in June. And all of those events not only brought people here, but those people spent money in our community and invested in our community. But more importantly than that, they made memories here. And those memories are hopefully what will drive them to come back again and again. The other things that we're doing is we are talking with social media influencers. We're working with Visit Florida, actually showcase the Palatka Trail Town video that we've co-produced with them. The St. John's Riverkeeper highlighted Earth Kinship Sunset Bat Tours. You can go kayaking in the St. John's River, and right at sunset, the bats come out from under the bridge, and it's a cool experience that you can't get everywhere. So that's something unique and different about our community. Also, WEDU PBS did a spot on Angel's Diner that they showcased on their social media. And then we have Misty Wells, who is an influencer who produces the show Let's Get Outside that airs on the Discovery Channel. She'll be filming in our community in September and going to a few places here to kind of highlight what we have here to see and do. We've done a lot of community engagement over the last 6 months. Tourism industry-wise, we've hosted an Adventure Travel Network webinar that Visit Florida put on. We invited everyone to the chamber office that's involved in adventure travel, whether that's a fish camp, a kayak outfitter, hunting club, anybody was invited. And we had some people show up. They didn't know each other. And so that's the goal of this, is to try to bring people together so that we can start to build itineraries and we can start to build experiences together. We also had we're starting to host quarterly overnight accommodations meetings, which is where we get the vacation rentals, the fish camps, the RV parks, and the hotels all together in one place to talk about group events, what they need as a business, as well as what we can provide them and how we can connect them better and all work together. Because the goal is to keep the business in Putnam County. If a hotel is sold out, we've got to find another place in Putnam County to serve those visitors. And so it's trying to just encourage that teamwork and that collaboration. And also, we have a monthly call with the Florida Adventure Travel Network. That's just a new thing that Visit Florida is doing that we are trying to become more active in. And it's continuously inviting those adventure businesses too. We also, I know it's down today, but our digital sign is back up. We've just had some technical issues with it the last couple of days. But we've also been at public meetings to discuss Riverfront Park, the parks. We've been to the Parks Committee, or the Trails Committee, the Blue Crab Festival, just different discussions throughout the community. Visit Palatka, we're partnering and collaborating with as well. And then we had the privilege of presenting at the Kiwanis Club the value of branding, and just making sure that that's something that everyone in the community understands the value of. We have had several TDC meetings and have some planned, so you'll see the dates there. We have a special meeting coming up next week to talk about marketing efforts and where the future's headed. And then these are just some of the projects that we have that we've accomplished. And we've got a new business card design. We've done the Visit Putnam rack card. We've also are in the process of reprinting the Palatka Trail Town pocket map. We've got some postcards. We're awaiting a delivery for our coasters that we'll be working as this will be something that we give to visitors and to groups, but also work with local restaurants to highlight not only the Visit Putnam app, but some of our local signature sites. We'll have tabletop pop-up banners. And the big thing that we're working on right now, we have an intern from the University of Florida that's helping us build actual tour experiences on our app. We want to do a dock and dine, have all the cycling trails together in one place, have all the hiking trails together in one place. And we're graciously working with the county's GIS team to make that happen. So it's definitely a team effort. And that's the quarterly update for y'all.
All right, Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
That was for our last presentation.
Oh.
So that's okay. I'll throw a little something in the commissioner comments. I can comment here if we want to.
Sure.
I do applaud these marketing efforts. You know, young people like the folks sitting behind you are going to get inspired by things like this. They'll look at things in ways that can contribute and put in ideas to help our community be a better place. So we'll wrap it all up here. We're fortunate to have that set of young people representing us outside the community. They're going to get inspired there. They're going to come back here and they're going to make us, you know, even better than we are. So thank you, and thank you guys out there for representing us so well. We're very proud of you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the presenter? Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say thank you for all the work that you're doing. The Visit Putnam app is always amazing to me. When we're in Tallahassee at Rural Days, I show people that app. I actually throw the phone at them. It's a squishy phone. It's not a real phone. But anything you can get their attention. And then I was reminded last week when we were at convention, I had 3 different people from state agencies say, you threw a fish at me in the Capitol courtyard. So, you know, whatever we can do to promote Putnam County, we need to be about doing it. And young people, I would ask, look at that app. And if there's any suggestions y'all can make, let us know. I mean, we're here to serve. So we want that app to be interactive and we want it to be right. And it's, I think it's really great. So I want to applaud y'all for everything you're doing, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Morgan. All right. Was there a video you wanted to share or for the FAC, or you want to wait on that another time?
Well, I think
Okay.
Julie,
All right, we can wait on that. Are
you want to do it?
Are we queued up for that?
You're ready. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
go
right
ahead.
ahead.
All right, we have one other thing we're adding real quickly to the, you want to wait?
No, that's fine. Just didn't.
Okay.
Arrives to save a life. Water valves turn.
Well,
And pumps kick on. So when you turn the tap, clean water flows. Storm clouds gather, and emergency management teams are ready to respond. Crews rise with the sun to care for local parks and green spaces, where community comes to life. These are the quiet guarantees of Florida's counties. The things that just work, because counties make them work. When Washington breaks down and Tallahassee overreaches, it's easy to forget how much our counties deliver. Because counties don't run on gridlock. We run on grit. Fire and EMS don't stop for politics. Parks don't get preserved at press conference. And your drinking water, it doesn't care about the next election. Counties make it happen. With balanced budgets and low taxes. The real Florida dream. Quiet work, done well, every single day. That's the power of local. The backbone of life in Florida's 67 counties. Because here, when it matters most, counties deliver.
Madam Chair, may I make a comment?
Yes.
You know, I think this was a very good video put together by the Florida Association of Counties. And when we're talking property tax relief, we need to be mindful of the things that we do deliver. And I had a lady in my church this morning, Vacation Bible School is happening. And she said, I want property tax relief. I want lower property taxes. I said, so what do you want to give up? You want to give up law enforcement? Do you want to give up emergency response? Do you want to give up, what do you want to give up? Well, I don't want to give up. I want to actually enhance things. Well, you can't do that if you're not paying into the system. And I don't mean that smugly. It's just the fact of doing business. We don't have money. We don't go out and make money. We have a certain amount of money that is produced. And that money, that pie is one pie. And if you want a bigger piece of pie at the table, somebody's getting a smaller piece of pie at the table. Just works that way. And so we have to be mindful of that. Our citizens constantly demand more and more on less and less. And we want to be able to provide that. But it's a challenge. But I think that we don't tell our story properly. I don't think we understand what the the constituent understands, and we got to do a better job. So that video really helps. That it's all back to local government. You know, it's all back to when you're, like I mentioned the other day when I was in church and had my hands up praising God, and somebody puts a note in my hand, my road needs to be graded. That's reality. Go to the grocery store and walk around, and somebody talks to you about this or that. I mean, there's issues that we can't get away from, and we don't need to get away from, but we want to be able to help. So I think this tells the story right. I think it tells it precise, and I think we need to continue using that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All right, are there any other comments from the board? All right, moving into planning and development, public hearing. LDC text amendment.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Zachary Baker, Planning and Development Services. This is LDC 25-000001. It's a county-initiated text amendment. I can go over a little bit of a summary if you wish, or we can just kind of dive right into any questions you may have.
What's the pleasure of the board? Anybody have any questions?
I do not.
All right, so this has been before us before. I guess my only concern is, which is still my concern, is the section 45-131. I am okay with all of the proposed changes in here except for that section.
And Madam Chair, I do just want to remind the board, this is technically still the first hearing in front of the commission where we get some direction. So if it's the pleasure of the board, just let us know what you'd like to keep, retain, all of it, some of it, none of it, and I can modify the ordinance for the next public hearing.
And I'm not saying that I wouldn't be willing to have the discussion on sections 45-131, which regarding RVs. However, what I would like to do is probably, can I just workshop that section and we can move forward with the remaining portion of the LDC?
Yes, ma'am, I do believe that that is possible. I think we can adopt part or all of the text. If the commission wants to wait on any certain, legislative change, we can pull that from what the adopted ordinance would be and kind of circle back on it.
Yeah, that's my concern is 45-131. I'm okay with the rest of the changes as presented. Commissioner Alexander?
Did you say 45-131 is the section that's concerning you?
Yes, it is, regarding the RVs.
Okay, I gotcha. Rich, is that acceptable to pull that section and approve the rest?
It is, and I would just say if the rest of the commission has any sort of input for the chair, while she has conversations with Zach, that would probably be very helpful so that we're not going back and forth multiple times.
So we could schedule a workshop just concerning that section where we could all be involved?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would like to see. I think that that's a bigger discussion, a discussion that truly affects a lot of our citizens. And there are some concerns that I have in there that, as presented, it's on pages 51 through 53, 54 in your package.
Yeah, I think we share some of the same concerns there, but I would like to see the rest of this move down the road. I'm tired of kicking the can on this one.
I agree.
So,
That sounded like a motion to me.
well,
I don't know.
I don't know.
One moment, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Sorry.
Can we move that forward today? Because it is one of two meetings. So all we can do today is push forward without that section, right? And go to a next meeting.
That sounds
and
like the
vote on it.
direction of the commission is you would essentially, your motion would be to move it forward and remove section 45-131 for further work by way of a
That's my
workshop.
recommendation.
Yep.
But I can't make a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion. In the Land Development Code text amendment, LDC 25-00001, County Initiative Text Amendment, I move that we move this to the next meeting for a vote and remove the section 45-131 for future workshop meeting. Is that good, Mr. Commander?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I would second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, like sign. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. We'll see you at the next meeting.
Sorry, Madam Chair, did you want to try to set up a time now for the workshop item, or do you want me to just
Yeah, we'll get with
let
you
this
on,
lie?
I'll get with you
Okay.
on a date that's good with all the commissioners on the workshop item.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, public hearing for Public Works to vacate undevelopment right-of-ways in Huntington Groves and Huntington Unit B subdivisions.
This is the second meeting for it to go into effect. There have been no problems with any of the vacate. It's completely undeveloped, and there's only one landowner around all of it, and so Public Works has no objection, neither do any of the utilities.
All right, back to the board. Are there any questions or comments? All right, is there a motion?
Yes, ma'am. I make a motion that we approve the request to vacate the undeveloped right-of-way in Huntington Groves and Huntington Unit B subdivision, Resolution 2025-043.
All right, we have a motion and a second by Commissioner Harvey. Any discussion?
And Madam Chair, so we would need to open for public comment.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on this item for vacation of undeveloped rights-of-ways? Yes, sir. Please come forward. Good morning, sir.
Yeah,
If you'll
I'm
just
with the,
state your name and address for the record.
excuse me,
If you'll state your name and address for the record.
it's Donnie Hall. It's, I don't have the exact address to the,
Okay, I need your address.
excuse me,
Your address.
my address.
Yes, sir, that's required.
It's 135 Shoreline Road,
Thank you.
Palatka.
Yes, sir, thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm with the Carter family, and we have property on the backside of the roads that's going to be vacated.
Okay,
And we're not opposed to all of the roads being vacated. Between block 1 and block 4 would give us access to the back of our property.
can we pull this map up or, so we can have some discussion? So you are on, let's see, there's Chapman and Liberty. Are you familiar with this mapping? Do you have a map with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm looking for a map that shows the roads, any of these. The base view may be on page 155.
Is it in your agenda packet?
Yeah, it's in the agenda packet. If we can just pull that up. You're 158, 157. Mr. Hogg, just give us a second. We want to make sure we understand what you're saying. We want to see it. Just stay right there.
Okay.
We're going to bring up a map to discuss. As soon as our computer cooperates.
Thank you.
What page is that, Chair Lady?
157. Yeah, 155 are the maps.
While we're pulling this up, could I ask a question of the gentleman? Do you intend to just have that in reserve and keep it undeveloped and just in case, or do you intend to develop it anytime soon?
We don't intend to develop it, just access.
Sir, if you'll step over to the mic.
Thank you.
So these roads, as I understand them, are currently not developed. They are only recorded on record. Yes, that's correct. All right, and so show us basically where you're talking about.
This, how do I get?
You're doing good.
There's a little cursor there. There you go.
Yeah, that area right there, our property
Yes, sir.
backs up to Block 1 and Block 4.
Okay, so are you asking for none of those to be vacated, or you want?
No, just that one right there that's,
I'm about the one between 2 and 3, Ruzica.
1 and 4. Yeah, the one in the middle.
yeah, correct.
It's like, would that be Chapman, 60 feet wide?
Madam Chair, may I?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sir, do you access your property using that undeveloped road now, or do you come in from a different way?
We have, on the back side of the property, there's 480 acres. We have a access on State Road 308 and Shoreline Road, but off of Paper Mill Road, Palmer Sawmill Road, we have no access if you shut that road down.
Are you currently using that way to get to your property now?
No, sir, but we had planned on doing it.
I'm sorry?
We had planned on putting an access road in there, a gate.
Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
So do you have other deeded access to the property elsewhere, or is that,
Excuse me?
do you have other deeded access to
Do you
the
have
property?
deeded and physical access is what he's asking?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And the reason why you would need to come off of Palmer Sawmill Road is just as a backup? Is that what you're stating?
That and the wetlands behind it would give us access around, behind the wetlands to the main property.
So is your property cut off because of the wetlands?
Not entirely.
Uh-huh.
There's about a 75-foot on the north side of the property there that's access to the back of the property.
Okay. Commissioner Alexander?
So, being relatively new to this, at this point, we had a request from, I know I'm going to mispronounce this, from
It's okay.
Ruzica.
Yeah. From the
And
landowner.
the landowner, that we're going to vacate these roads. We have another citizen that has requested a partial change to their request.
Right.
So would it be pertinent for us or Public Works or staff, for to engage Ruzica to see if they had any heartburn with that, to modify their request?
Well, I think you could do everything, but it looks like that's Chapman Boulevard. Is that Chapman Boulevard?
Correct.
So it looks, we have the option, I believe, of doing everything or not doing anything, or
Yeah, I didn't know if we could
modifying
piecemeal
it to do, approve everything but Chapman Boulevard. I think we're having that discussion now. Commissioner Harvey, have you ran into this before?
Yeah, I have. And I have a question for you, sir. Why haven't you used that property before today? Is it because you didn't know that there was an access back there? Or?
No, sir, we always knew there was an access back there. It was in the plans for the future to put a gate there, but with all the other, we just haven't gotten around to doing it yet.
Okay, so if you put a gate there, you still have to make a road there, right?
Yes.
Because
Correct.
it's not there. So are you going to spend money to make that road go out to, I guess that's East Commerce Avenue, is that
Or
right?
no, it's Palmer Sawmill
Palmer
Road.
Sawmill Road? Okay. Are you going to, because I'm not willing, I'm going to be honest with you. It's been this long and it hasn't been opened up yet. I'd rather this land go back to where it was and get rid of these roads that don't exist. But if your intent is to put a gate up and you're going to clear that out and build it up to county standard, then I'm not going to stand in your way. But I think it should have been done a long time ago. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, we weren't under the assumption there was a time limit on doing this. So.
There isn't. There isn't a time limit.
Excuse me?
There is not.
There's not a time limit, he said.
Right.
Commissioner Alexander?
Chair,
Yes.
can we ask a quick question? Because Public Works reviewed this and we thought there was access. Can you clarify your parcel number or address?
And maybe, Mr. Ritchie, can you scroll down to the next page, 156? It shows a little bit further out, the picture.
This one here?
Yeah,
Yes.
correct.
Maybe the speaker can explain his relationship on that picture.
Yes, sir. Can you help me understand which parcel is yours?
Yeah, this parcel right here.
The one that says Carter?
Yeah, the Carter.
So that, so that parcel shows on our side about a mile of frontage on County Road 308 access. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you have a mile there of access to that paved road, County Road 308?
You said miles?
A mile, 1 mile. About a mile is what GIS is roughly showing us?
Correct.
Okay. And but your concern is access where?
Yeah, to that piece of land there, that piece of parcel there.
He would like to, on the backside, access Palmer Sawmill Road on the backside. He'd like to reserve that. He doesn't want it vacated, as the way I understand it, so that he could have it for future.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir. Push your button. No, your other button.
I'm on, I think.
Oh, you are?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. After looking at this map, I get a little better picture, but someone that has the cursor could show me exactly where we're trying to vacate and what we're doing. This map is much better than what I was looking at, and I'd like some clarification.
I'm sorry, what's your question?
These right here.
Commissioner's asking, which roads are actually being vacated?
So all this. So that would
To
be-
go up, go
there,
back up.
up there.
Go to the next
Here,
page,
here.
actually.
Okay, I can't even see that. So
Yeah, that's-
small.
So if you look at this map, he's asking, scroll up, yep.
Chapman.
Everything in blue is asking, the applicant is asking to be vacated, and this gentleman is asking, he's okay with everything except for Chapman.
Yeah. Except
Is that
for
correct?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Well, But Chapman and then this road right here, whatever that name is.
Well, yeah, Chapman would have to be adjacent if you, correct.
Correct.
Chapman ties into Palmer Sawmill. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct. Yes.
And then Ms. Young said he had about a mile of
Yes.
property ownership on 308. Is that
Yes,
correct?
and he stated that he has 2 access points on 308 as well. He's saying that this would help him get to the back for future reference. It's not developed at this time.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with this piece of property. There is a long distance along Highway 308, but a lot of that is wet.
You go back to the aerial for me, Jamie.
Yep, there's quite a bit of wetland that meanders through that property, and I could see where there could be access issues.
And some of the
across it.
consideration for the commission is also, it's not just kind of what is the ability to access now, but thinking through, oftentimes there'll be a request to subdivide property that comes to you too. So if that lot gets subdivided, how would that new property owner then access the property? Because obviously, we would not recommend taking an action that would landlock a piece of property.
But this would not landlock him, correct?
Not the way the lot is now, no.
Go ahead, Commissioner Alexander.
So, again, I go back to the original request. They're requesting to vacate all roads here.
Correct.
So, we have to approve the request as it's written, all or none, correct? We don't have the option to piecemeal it.
I think you can piecemeal it.
Can we?
Yeah.
So, do we need to go, okay. There,
Can
I wasn't certain because it was written as a request to vacate all, not one, not and or, but as all. So that was my request. I didn't know if we should go back to them and ask if they were accepting of that or.
Both of those are options. So you can vacate, when you vacate a road, you're vacating particular roads. So essentially, the request that's before you is to vacate 5 separate roads.
Okay.
Correct.
You can decide to vacate 4 out of the 5.
We can.
You can go back to the applicant and ask kind of what their position is on that 5th road. I mean, you do have flexibility in what action you take today.
Okay.
Mr. Stout, what would you like to do? What's your comments? Do you have comments on this?
Public Works did not have any objection to it because this piece of land as it lies today was not landlocked. That's why we didn't have any objections to the vacate.
Right.
When we looked at all adjacent properties.
And actually, by vacating the roads, then, does that get rid of the subdivision, the ability to, the platted subdivision? Because of platted roads are part of the platted subdivision. So once you get rid of those roads, would that, the owner of, not this gentleman, but the owner of the existing property would not be able to develop those lots in the way they are written in the subdivision right now?
They would most likely have to replat, because
They would
again,
have to replat.
they could not create, in theory, a buildable lot that was landlocked.
That's what I thought. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
If the commission is considering identifying a road, if we're attempting to find some sort of middle ground,
I believe so.
it may be a recommendation to go back to the applicant requesting the vacation and determine which road may accomplish both goals. If Chapman may not accomplish the applicant's goal, but we may be able to accomplish the gentleman's goal through a various path that takes a border road out instead of that middle road. So
Correct.
we may be able to have some conversation about finding a mutually beneficial resolution.
Right, so if you look at the southern portion of what's being requested, that 30-foot unnamed street,
Right.
that may accomplish the same goal for our speaker.
That's south of Block 4.
And then that seems to allow the ability of the applicant to consolidate the properties to do something different.
All right. Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And also in that conversation, Mr. Stout, I'd like to know if we do close some of these roads, what would be the onus on the landowner to build that road where people can use it for ingress and egress?
Well, if the road is vacated, it's no longer a.
Right, right.
So
If we leave a road.
if we leave a road, then it would be up to whoever wants to develop the road to front the cost.
The person who
Because
has
right
the
now,
right.
it's dedicated to the public.
But would it have to be up to county standards?
For us to accept it into the maintenance, it would be, but not for a private road. Like if they just wanted to cut it wide enough to get a side-by-side to go through, they can do that. But if they wanted to bring it in front of the board for county maintenance, it would need to be brought up to county standard.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Alexander?
Based on our discussion, can I make a motion that we table this and allow Public Works to reach out to the applicant and see if they might be interested in taking Mrs. Young's suggestion and leaving the bottom road open to access the property, which would still enable them to have one contiguous piece of property and accommodate your access to that portion of your property?
We're trying to work with you, sir. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I think it sounds like the pleasure of the board's going to be to table this. I mean, we'll take a vote, but that's what's being suggested now. Do you have any other comments?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Commissioner Palacier.
I think Ms. Young and Commissioner Alexander are onto something there that maybe go back to the applicant and see if we can come up with some middle ground that works for all parties concerned. In the meantime, I can look at this map for years, but I'm going to do a site visit now. I just will feel much comfortable about going out there and seeing exactly all your access points, exactly getting a feel for what's going on there to understand it totally.
Ms. Young, you're recognized.
Yeah, Chair, the only request that we have is we had not had any knowledge of the objection, so we need some contact information so
Sure.
that we can try to work together.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's never the goal of the commission to create any animosity amongst the neighbors. I consider it our job to work to find a resolution that will satisfy both the county and the concerned parties. So if you would extend us that courtesy, we would like to work and try and find a solution that will work for everyone.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Alexander, and there's a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, thank you. So if you'll just get with Mr. Stout, or Mr. Stout get with this gentleman, and then we'll hear this at a later date. Thank you, sir, for coming forward. We're going to take a 3-minute recess. Putnam County Board of Commission meeting and move into public comment on agenda items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It is not reasonable to expect that the board will engage in debate or deliberation about matters on which the board has received no prior information as part of the agenda. Please limit your time to 3 minutes. Public comment cards are conveniently placed at the meeting room entrance and should be submitted prior to the meeting to the deputy clerk who sits to the right of the podium. Madam Clerk, do you have any cards at this time? Okay. Okay. So these look like they're on miscellaneous items, so we'll go on to our consent agenda items. Is there a commissioner who would like to pull any item, starting with Commissioner Alexander?
I have none.
Commissioner Newbold?
I have none to pull.
Commissioner Palacier?
I have none.
Commissioner Harvey?
I have none.
And I have none.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move the consent agenda approval for items A, B, C, and D.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Consent agenda items. These are miscellaneous items. We'll start with Miss Deanna Brose. I hope I said your last name correctly. Rosie, okay.
That's okay. Everybody gets it wrong. I'm used to it.
Okay.
I'm coming to you again this morning. I came to you several weeks ago on animal control. I have made no progress whatsoever. I'd like to ask you what I need to do next. I have contacted Officer Johnson numerous times, who is the officer that is handling my case, and she doesn't respond. She has told me that she has been to the trap and baited it, when I was told the protocol was, when she set up the trap, that it had to be in a well-lit area with a camera on it and had to be covered so that if the animal was trapped, it could not be harmed in any way. And I was not to touch the trap whatsoever. How does animal control expect to catch these dogs that are destroying my property and killing cats by not baiting the trap? She has reached out to me one time in 3 weeks and answered one of my text messages and told me that she was there and that she baited the trap. I find that very hard to believe since there's a camera on it, and I get alerts every time something's near it. So I've reached out to Mr. Helms numerous times. I explained the situation to him. He said she should be coming by daily to check the trap. She should be patrolling the area to see if the dogs are in the area, and she should be checking in with me. So being prior military, I've decided to follow my chain of command, which was I dealt with the officer. I'm not getting anywhere with Mr. Helms. I've reached out to Miss Young, which she has not had time to respond to my phone call. I did leave her a message. But what am I supposed to do when nobody returns any phone calls? And you cannot tell me that this young lady is patrolling the area when I'm patrolling the area. And I know Larry's patrolling the area also. So what can be done about this situation? That's my question. Is, yeah, it's just cats. I get it. I get that animal control has other calls to go on for animal cruelty, for dog bites. I've got 2 dogs next to me that have never been addressed, that have charged at my employee and my friend. What is it with West Putnam? What is it with our area? Why can't we get anywhere with this?
Okay.
Does anybody have any answers? I mean, I appreciate all of Larry's help. Bless his heart. He has reached out to me every time I've reached out to him. But something has got to be done. And I'm sorry that I presented you with pictures of dead cats. That was not my intent to, make it look this bad. But I had to get my point across, that something has got to be done about, and it's always the same two animals. It's always the same hours of the night. They've got collars on. They've got to be in the area. Animal control should be able to handle it. How much more of my property is going to get destroyed as well, not only as the cats being killed?
Chair, I've been involved in a very brief start of the conversation here, and I do know that we are patrolling the area. We do not have night patrol. It is only in an emergency situation where we would be called out for a very high-level emergency, a bite, something of that nature. So I am happy to continue to facilitate some conversation, but in like most cases, sometimes there are problems with roaming animals. When we show up, it's the old cartoon, right? It exists for forever. The dog sees the dog catcher truck and the dog runs away. I understand that there's a trap and those work sometimes, and sometimes we catch inadvertent animals. I can tell you that multiple officers have been involved in this case and have been in the area. But if you will allow me to see if I can work towards some resolution, we can see what we can have done and at least provide you the update. It may help Ms. Lynn just to know the number of times we've been out there, right? Sometimes it's just knowing that we actually have been there even if you haven't seen us.
But in order to catch the animal, Julianne, you have to bait the trap. I was
I
told
understand what
I
you're saying.
cannot
If you'll-
touch the trap.
Yes, ma'am,
Okay?
I understand.
You know, so if you haven't been there in 2 weeks, how do you expect to catch the animal? And when it was baited, there was not enough food put in it to catch a rat. I mean, I've got videos of an armadillo that would not even go in it.
Ms. Deanna, I'm going
You
to
know.
have you work directly with Julianne. She'll work with you.
Okay, I would appreciate it.
Not
Thank
a problem.
Commissioner Alexander, do you have any comments?
I just had a quick question for Mr. Commando. Regarding those animals roaming on her property, whether they have a collar on them or not, if they've killed her animals or she feels threatened by them, what are her legal rights to protect herself and her property?
You know, generally speaking, I can't give her legal advice, but we're all within our rights to protect yourself and your property.
Thank you.
And Mr. Alexander, I understand. I have all rights, you know, to protect my property. I can shoot the dogs. I'm an animal lover.
Me too.
Whenever you're in my situation to where you don't have a family member alive, period, your animals become your life.
Yeah, I understand
And
completely.
I don't want to hurt anything. I would just as soon catch them myself and bring them to you guys. I don't want to have to shoot them or anything, and I wouldn't do that. I can't even stand to see a dead armadillo in front of my shop.
No, ma'am.
Get run over on 315.
I appreciate
You know, I
that.
don't want to do that, but I just want a resolution from animal control to get something done. And baiting the trap may catch the dogs, but there has to be somebody there to bait it.
Okay, if you'll just work with Miss Julianne. Thank you. Mr. Lozell? Lozell?
Morning.
Good morning. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Louis Loisel. I live at 139 River Shore Drive in San Mateo. Okay. What I'm coming here today is regarding the water project that was done where the water lines were installed on San Mateo Road, Sportsman Drive, and in that area. I own several properties in that area, and the one in particular I have a problem with DPW with is 710 San Mateo Road. The length of San Mateo Road from Sportsman Road to Horse Landing Road was tore up quite badly by the excavation, as you would expect from such a project. The problem is the condition it was left in when the construction company pulled out. DPW is supposed to go ahead and do final inspections on all of this. None of this should be the county's problem, as that all my complaints should have been caught by a final inspection. Those complaints are, and they have been documented, a lot of erosion, ruts, washouts. No final grading was done whatsoever. Seeding was not done. Only thing growing there now is weeds and maybe a little bit of grass root that resprouted from the initial excavation. During the job, my mailbox was destroyed, and I spoke with DB Construction regarding that damage. And I also spoke with Lisa McKee at Public Works regarding that damage. The concrete around the culvert pipes, 4 out of 5 of those culvert pipes are missing sections or complete areas where the concrete once was, that was broken in half by the excavator and never repaired. Most of the culvert pipes are, 20 to 50% full of sand now because of the erosion. And there were clauses in the contract regarding the erosion. I've made complaints about this right from the bottom, from Mrs. McKee up through Mr. Stout, all the way up through Mr. Alexander, and at this point, I've been treated like I'm trying to scam somebody. I've been insulted. At this point, I feel like they're not, they just want me to go away. They're not willing to fix it or admit there's a problem, and I think the problem to me is completely obvious. I provided a few photographs of the damage. Most of the photographs in that packet are fairly recent, except for one that shows the mailbox, and behind it you see the concrete wall behind the mailbox has been dislocated from its original location. Now, the cinder blocks were put back in place after they got done, but they were no longer affixed to the base. I could kick them over with my foot. They weren't attached to anything. On the other side of the driveway, half the concrete is actually missing. And again, most of the concrete around those culverts up through was damaged and never repaired. I went to all of the neighbors in the area with a letter, stating there was damage and they wished that to be repaired, and they all signed it. So I go ahead and that will be in the packet that I presented, and that's my complaint. So any questions or anything, I'd be happy to answer.
All right, thank you for coming forward. Is there any questions?
I don't have anything at this point. We'll look at.
We'll
I'll
look at
take the
information you-
opportunity, look at this information, talk to staff, and roll forward from there.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving into appointments. Commissioner Alexander, do you have any appointments?
Not this morning, ma'am.
All right. Commissioner Palatka?
I do not.
Commissioner Harvey?
I have none.
I like to mix it up every once in a while. Commissioner Newbold?
Yes, I have one for the Greenbelt Board. There's a District 1 opening. I'd like to appoint Roger Easterling of Crescent City.
All right, Greenbelt Advisory Board.
Yes, and that's the only thing that I have today.
All right. All right, moving on to comments. Clerk of Court Reynolds.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Just real quick, wanted to take a moment to thank all of you and thank our legislators again, for the appropriations that they put in. Unfortunately, it looks like we were, the ERP project, or the financial software project, was vetoed out of the budget by the governor. So I just wanted to bring that up with the commission and keep it at the forefront of everybody's mind as we go into budget preparation season. So just like to bring that up for discussion at some point during budget prep so we can discuss it. It's I feel like it's a pressing project that we really need to work on. It's a can that we've kind of kicked down the road for years and years now, and again, very appreciative of y'all making it a priority this year. Very appreciative of our legislators getting it to the point where it was in the budget. So thank you for all of the effort so far, and just wanted to keep it at the forefront so we can discuss it some more going forward.
Yeah, I think that is something that we'll have to have further discussion on as we get through the budget cycle.
Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you.
Thank you. County Attorney Commando.
Just want to bring up, for the people that were able to attend the Florida Association of Counties Conference, I'd like to congratulate our very own Commissioner Harvey as the second Vice President-elect. We know how great he is here at home, but to try to spread that message to the rest of the state's not always an easy task. And I even mentioned to Commissioner Harvey, I saw Commissioner Parks' little palm cards all over the place and made me a little nervous, but I shouldn't have been, just because Commissioner Harvey did such a good job on the interpersonal relationships that it was a landslide vote. So congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Administrator Suggs.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, I'll echo what our county attorney just said regarding Commissioner Harvey. It was a great event to be able to stand there and kind of watch the process go through. And then to be asked to officiate over the count was very much appreciated by myself as well. So that was a great turnout. And as Mr. Commando said, it was an overwhelming vote. So again, congratulations, Mr. Vice President, Second Vice President, Commissioner Larry Harvey. And secondly, Madam Chair, I've been approached by Visit Palatka. They want to look at doing a farmer's market. They want to do it at the courthouse. They would like to do it on the first and third Saturdays. I've asked them if they would, if it's acceptable by the board to go ahead and continue moving this process forward. I'd like to have them come down and do a presentation on the 22nd of July to the board itself to see what it is that they're wanting to do. I've seen some of the preliminary drawings and the layouts and in my preliminary conversations. I think it's going to be a great event, great opportunity to showcase Palatka in downtown. I think it'll bring a lot of visitors from out of town as well, which I think is going to be a good driver. And from what I understand, they're looking at putting all the responsibility on themselves, hiring a market manager, the whole 9 yards. So I've reached out to Mr. Reynolds originally to make sure that they had no issues with it. Haven't received any concerns. So just like a normal event, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but fortunately, it'd be the first and third Saturday, not just an individual Saturday. So I did talk to Ms. West earlier about the potential of them needing to get a special event permit. They're going to reach out and make sure if there is anything required by them, they'll take care of that as well through the city. Not sure if there is or not, but want to make sure all the bases are covered. So so that's kind of my report. Like I said, just preliminary discussions, but if it's acceptable by the board, a wave of consensus or whatever, I'd be more than happy to share that and let them continue moving forward with it and come in and do a presentation.
Wave and support.
Are you good with a farmer's market?
Yes. There we go. We all wave.
All right, I think
Thank-
we're good with
thank
that
you, Madam
without a
Chair.
presentation.
I'll pass it along.
All right, thank you. I know we had public comment before. Apparently, we have some more, and I will open it back up for public comment. Brenda Copley, public comment.
Morning.
Brenda Copley, 756 National Forest Road, 75G. I'm just coming on behalf of the property owners of Fort Gates to see if there's an update on scheduling the workshop for the Fort Gates Ferry repairs on the west side.
I don't know that there's a workshop. There's
think
not
we're
anything
scheduled.
scheduled.
No.
I do know that we were waiting to see if there was funding for that, and I think we've heard recently that it was not funded through the grant, or have we heard that?
I don't believe I've heard that officially yet. Have you heard anything, Mr. Sullivan, on the grant?
Okay, all right.
Been announced.
We have a request in for federal funding for that, and
I thought you had to clarify whether or not you still had the lease on it, or there was some question or doubt whether or not that was clear. Mr. Palliser, do you?
we do not have any lease at this time, I don't believe.
That's correct.
That's correct. There's not a lease in place.
You were out last week?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to give a report.
Oh, are you? Okay, okay, because we just missed you going out, so I just wanted to check on that on our behalf, so.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak in the public before I close out the public hearing? Going once, going twice? All right. Back to county commissioner comments, starting with Commissioner Alexander.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What an exciting day to have our youth before us. That truly warms your heart. Those are the future leaders of our community. They're vested here. They're wanting to make a difference, and they came before us. Again, congratulations, Mr. Harvey. We all know a celebrity now. I mean, newspaper celebrity, national celebrity. This is this is great. Matt, I'm very disappointed about the enterprise software being vetoed. I know that was a big issue for both you and I. Both of us recognize the security issues. They're readily apparent, and the efficiency that it could change the dynamic of your office. We need it. It's not a want, it's a need. So I think we all need to coalesce around that, as Madam Chair said during the budget. And one more quick thing. We had a cameo today. I have a young gentleman shadowing me today. His name is Jack Salsey. Wave to Jack. Jack traveled to Tallahassee a couple weeks ago, visited with the parliamentarians up there, the Attorney General, and don't know if you guys are familiar with the Saucy Pig Barbecue over in St. Augustine. He's got some of the best barbecue in the world, but that's his dad. So I want to thank you for joining us today too, Jack. Yes, sir. That's all I've got.
All right.
Are you taking them to lunch?
Well, no. I've got another appointment back there in the back corner.
Commissioner Palacier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First and foremost, remember the poor, unfortunate folks of Central Texas in that disaster. Just devastating. I understand the death toll now is in excess of 100. Just a terrible tragedy. Every now and then, the veto pen of the governor can be good, and then last week it was, in that we saved our Rodman Dam. He did not fund the folks that wanted to do a partial, as they call it, restoration. I call it a destroying. But anyhow, so it can be good occasionally. In this instance, it was. Hopefully we can get things on a better track for that next year. Mr. Suggs, myself, and Mr. Stout made a trip out to the forest and met with the new powers that be out there. And I must say, a much better reception than I've ever had before. Very nice folk. We spent 4 hours, 5 hours, I guess, riding around and talking about things that they want to see in the forest, and have a pretty good working relationship with the ranger, Miss Terry.
Miss Carrie Sakaric.
Sakaric, okay. Anyhow, she and I and all of us seem to hit it off on a pretty good note. We're looking into a couple things. To be able to really do any kind of work out there on those roads, we have to have an interlocal agreement. And Mr. Suggs is working on that, to getting some information. We're working on a possible mutual agreement with Marion County of there's an issue where certain roads in there, you're in Marion, you're in Putnam, you're in Marion, Putnam. And we're going to try to come up with something that works out, that where 1 month we'll handle it, 1 month they'll handle it, so it won't wear us out jumping back and forth each month out there. We'll reach out to them, see if we can come up with something there. We talked to her about a transfer station for garbage pickup to get those garbage trucks off the roads out there. She's looking into some locations that possibly that they would allow us to do such. She's going to get back to us whenever she can get some things in front of us to look at. So we had a very good meeting. Am I leaving anything out, Mr. Suggs?
No, sir. It was a very interesting day, to be frank.
It was very,
they were
very nice.
very open and receptive to a lot of the conversation. Quite frankly, what Commissioner Palacier and I both heard was the limitations that are placed on them at the local level.
I was very, I don't know, let down as to the very minimal funding that they get for roads. And if they're not taking out timber, they really just don't have much money to commit to that. But she did say that the president had authorized them to up their timber production by 25% more than they normally do. She said that would increase their money flow some and possibly allow for some improvements on roads out there. But for the size of 388,000 acres, I think is what she said, and wasn't it 140,000 is all she's allocated for road?
I believe what they said, I believe they said they had 327 miles of surface roads, and they're given like 140,000 a year to manage those.
It's pennies. It's absolute pennies. So, I mean, they're doing the best they can, but we did not get the door slammed in our face. This is the third set of ranger people that I've dealt with out there, and by far, this is the better group that we've ever encountered.
The one thing that was a takeaway was we reached out during our conversation for them to send us some information regarding potential interlocal agreements with the forest. Once I receive that information back from the office, we will look at it. We'll also come back to the commission for further discussion about the process of if we want to move forward, how we move forward, and what our requirements are at that time. But I have asked them for the potential interlocal agreement paperwork so we can see, because it has changed from what we were told, I believe it was last Wednesday. So once we receive that, Mr. Palatka and I will get together, then we'll bring it back to the board and see what how we want to progress forward.
Mr. Suggs, didn't they also tell us that they had no interlocal agreement with any of the 3 counties that are in the forest?
They did say they don't have any current
up-to-date
interlocals. They do have, I believe, possibly an outdated, from their terms, with Marion County. One of the conversations that they talked about was the road that we share with Marion County, about the possibility of us doing some work for them doing some work for us. And my response was, and Mr. Palatka asked me, or Commissioner Palatka asked me to make sure I chimed in where necessary, was that would be a great opportunity. However, we're still back to square one where we don't have permission to be there. And, so that is one of the things that we seriously need to work on if we're going to do anything, is we've got to get those agreements in place. And, but again, I will say the local folks was very appreciative of the opportunity to spend some time with Commissioner Palatka, with it being in his district, and our staff, and explain to us a little bit more that maybe things that we didn't understand,
Right.
and the process that they have to go through, and the limitations that's been placed on them.
One question that they cleared up for me that I thoroughly didn't understand was why Marion had pavement through part of the forest on forest roads, and we have very sandy, dirty dirt roads. If school bus traffic is on those roads to carry kids, I think it's a safety issue, and therefore they get pavement. And we don't have that, I guess, happening on the Putnam side with school kids out there, because I think everybody out there mostly is retired and does not have school children that travel that way or get to school that way. So that cleared up a big thought in my mind of why that was that way.
I think that's something, too, that you can have a good conversation. Gina Sims with Congressman Fine's office had reached out just yesterday and said, what is it we can do to help? So I think that they're new, the whole, he's new, she's new, but I think that they have a desire to help, but they just need to know where they can help at. So this might be a situation where you keep them in the loop on that and say, hey, this is what's going on, because at some point they could be instrumental in getting any kind of agreements, because we all know that it gets bottlenecked as the further up the chain it has to go. And when you're dealing with the federal government, and that's the thing I think that's challenging for our residents that live out in the forest, is we don't have control. And so we can't just go out and do something. We just can't go out and take control of a piece of property that we don't own, regarding trash pickup, regarding roads, regarding the ferry, all of these things. We have some limitations, because I remember years ago, whenever we had gotten money to put the gravel down, or the road down at the ferry landing, and we could only go so far because federal government said you can't go any further. This is our property, it's not
That's
yours. And so that's the challenge that we face on that. But I think Congressman Fine's office might be very helpful in
Certainly, we'll
moving
reach out
forward,
to
if you'll
her.
just keep that in mind. Commissioner Alexander?
Yes, ma'am, and like you said, I always do it, but they're, you get excited about, the presentations from the youth today, and there was something else that I got pretty excited about yesterday. I'd like to thank Mr. Suggs. He kind of took me on a treasure hunt yesterday regarding our vacant properties that are, inclusive of this building. I would like to ask for some help from you guys. There is plenty of space, and Veterans Services seems quite constrained in their current location. And I'd like to ask for some help and maybe look at relocating them where they've got an opportunity to have their own conference room, handicapped accessible bathrooms, private meeting rooms where they can have those tough discussions with some of our veterans. And more security, honestly, because there are some issues sometimes with those folks, and they need that security. And I think that where they're housed currently is not acceptable, especially for, you know, our debt to them for this nation. And I think we should provide them with a proper space for them to meet and conduct business. So I want to ask for you guys' help and move that along as quickly as we can.
Absolutely. I brought that forward a meeting or so ago, and they are very constrained, and we do have the room. That's the beauty of it. We don't have to build anything. We go in and remodel and update and upgrade, and certainly can put them in some much better facility than what they're in now. So I agree with Commissioner Alexander 110%.
We've got the room, we've got the money, and they deserve it.
Yep.
Sounds like, are one of you taking the lead on that, or is that you? I know you had mentioned it before.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Just bring it back and let us know what the request is, because there'll be some financial implications with that, so we just need to figure out what that is. All right, moving on to commissioner comments. Commissioner Newbold.
Thank you. I guess I'll run in reverse order just so I don't forget a few of these. The Veteran Services is definitely a space we need to look into. We know now that we have one of the most robust veteran services programs in the state. They're a big asset to the community, and we've got the space within this facility. That does open up maybe a little greater can of worms. We have a lot of space in this facility that I think is being underutilized, and while veteran services ought to be tackled first, I think we need to look at the rest of that space as we move forward as well. Commissioner Harvey, congratulations again on the second vice president election win. That Florida Association of Counties program that we all were fortunate enough to attend a week or so ago was a great program. My first time there. All I've known Florida Association of Counties as being as somebody who fills your mailbox up with tons of information. But it was really neat to meet those folks in person, to see what that association does for us, and we're fortunate that Larry will be leading that organization in the future. He's worked with that group for a long, long time, and that's going to be an asset for our county, so thank you for that, Larry. I appreciate the opportunity to move that RV component to get a little more focus in that workshop. You know, that one it's a big can of worms, and it's a kind of a balance between, you know, property rights and you know, keeping our community clean and neat and safe. And that one's a little tougher to skin. I'm glad we're going to give it some more focus. Fort Gates Ferry, it's nice to hear maybe a little bit of progress, at least, you know, open communication. District 1 is on the east side of that little, if you call it a corridor. The community on the east side is behind the opening up and the restoration of that ferry, not just the old leasee, but the community in general there. As a matter of fact, there are some folks that would be willing to, you know, participate financially in a small way. So there's some buy-in on the east side, and hopefully over time we'll restore that to something special for Putnam County. That is really all I have. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to thank our commission here and our staff. I want to thank Senator Leak and Representative Sapp for all the work they did on Rodman. You know, it's a local issue, local decision, and that's where I stand at it, and it's home rule to me. And it's our water and our environment, and we should be a part of that conversation when that comes about. But I want to thank everybody for standing tall and standing strong on that issue. Also want to remind you, if you look in your packet today, you'll see some of the road prices, dirt to pave. I just want to say thanks to our Public Works and to our administration, especially our administrator, Mr. Suggs, for putting those pieces together. We are seeing prices come down, which is a good thing. It's a kind of a double-edged sword, but it makes us more affordable to start looking at more dirt to pave or other options that we can do. Road prices came down very significantly, 100,000, 150,000, and you know, we put roads out there, and the group of roads I chose, the highest bidder was 1.1 million, but they came in right under 400,000 was the lowest bidder. The next bidder was about 30,000 higher. So, you know, you can't, you never know till we go out to bid what we're gonna look at there. Also want to say, if you notice the revival tent's coming up, the signs are on the road. So we're going to have a revival out here in the grass area. Pastor Ken Elliott approached us a while back about doing that. So the old grass area out front will have that revival tent going on. And I also want to say anytime that we can promote Putnam County. Clerk Reynolds, you're Vice President of the Clerks Association, so you'll be representing Putnam County, and they'll be asking you where Putnam County is, and you'll be able to tell them, because there's 67 other counties out there. And I'll be able to tell, and we'll be able to move Putnam County forward. And it's a great opportunity for us to be in those leadership positions to do that. Because like I always said, if you're not telling the story, somebody else is, and it might not be the story you want to be told. Commissioner Palatka, I want to thank you for the hard work in the forest. You know, my stepmother lives out there, and the ex-forest ranger could have cared less what Putnam County said, and he stood right over there and said it. And I'll never forget that. The sad part is that these forests, he called service roads or service access, they're roads, and people live there. And if you didn't want them to live there, then buy everybody out and have a closed forest. But they didn't do that. And so we've got to be dealt with the cards that we're dealt with, and I appreciate all that moving forward. And I just look forward to the future of Putnam County and the things that all of us are pushing forward in our own respect and pushing together collaboratively as a commission. So thank you, Madam Chair. That is my remarks.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone today. I appreciate the presenters that we had today. It was nice to see the recognition that was given to some local young people. Always very encouraging to see that we do have a bright future in Putnam County with our youth, and so that's exciting. As we move forward, we will have some upcoming budget meetings. Julian, have we set those dates yet?
As with tradition, your next meeting will have a 505 where you'll have your maximum millage and your tentative balanced budget. And then the first and second meeting, both in September, your regularly scheduled Tuesdays, will both have a 505 for your first and second public hearing of the formal budget.
Okay. All right. So if commissioners haven't done so, please make sure you're getting with our budget officer, Julianne Young, to go over numbers and make sure you understand whenever we have our first meeting. Be prepared for that discussion. I feel like we're going to have a very tight budget year, and we'll have some tough decisions to make, but we'll get through it like we do everything else. And but just keep that in mind as we go forward. We're coming into budget season. Want to thank everyone for attending the Florida Association of Counties and going through your ethics training and all the other courses that helps us become better commissioners as we move forward. And again, congratulations to Commissioner Harvey and for representing our community and representing the Florida Association of Counties. We're excited for you. And I was on vacation last week. I took a trip to Alaska, and Vice Chair had to set in for me, Commissioner Harvey, and I appreciate that. And all your hard work while I was out. That we get to go on vacation once a year, and that was our annual vacation. So anyway, we had a great trip, and I'm glad to be back and getting back into the work of the people. So with that, that's all I have. This meeting is adjourned.